Sure. So, welcome to this third session of Flutter Forward, and I am Chanil Nagreja, is the tutor for this Flutter Forward session, and will take you throughout the session where we would be coding an app, a Flutter that would be your first Flutter app. Hopefully you must have gone through the links which I mentioned yesterday, which I said to go through in that talk. And if you just joined today, like I can see there are key participants, and that's fine. That's very fine because few of them are very much interested in app development, and I'm happy that you are attending this today also. So you are attending this, like you haven't yet attended yesterday's session, then I am resharing that doc, which has some resources, link, and installation guide, and all those things. So just go through that after this session. Just a second. Yeah, I have shared a link of that doc which we were using yesterday as link of resources, and let's get started. Open your VS Code, and I'm sharing my screen. Hopefully the screen must be visible. Close this unnecessary, and let's get started. So our today's aim is to build an application which is kind of quizzing application. Like you must have, like while in your JEE preparation, you must have gone through many online tests, and there was an site probably of JEE NTA where you could practice the JEE format MCQ questions. So we are kind of building that only. Like I have an API which gives me an questions and their respective answers, and my task is to create an application where I could test myself. Like question is true or false, or and selecting an option out of it. So hopefully you would be building it along with me, and if not, I would push my code in a GitHub repo, and where you could see that code, and you can do it afterwards after this session by yourself on your pace. Okay, and since there are just three of the attendance, so I guess you could easily ask question. Don't hesitate to ask question. Just ask it. No one will judge. No one that. So let's get started. You can unmute my mic. Probably I won't be able to see the chat during the coding. So if you have any question, just open mic and speak up. So let's get started. As as yesterday I told that for creating new project, what we do is to command palette, new project. What we wanna do, Flutter application. Let's select an empty application. Yesterday I select this one because I want to see the comments. I want the instructions, but today I know those all things, so I would just select an empty application, and I would write a folder name or name of my app which I am going to build. It's let's select this folder and name it as quizzing. Press enter, and it starts building the app. will wait for a minute since you might be trying to do it with myself and might take time in your system. So just a second so that someone is coding along with me. Till that time, let me take you this section, which was pubspec.yaml, which I described that stores our dependencies, which were plugins which we were using from the site this pub.dev. Dev, this pub.dev as our dependencies. So the YAML file will be used today. And also let me tell you what is an API. Like API is a bridge between server and our user side system. Like if you want to share information from server to our system over internet, how will you do it? Using an API. So building an API is a backend thing which Flutter developers do not need to do. It's a thing of backend developers. So we just get an endpoint of API. And let me show you the API which we are going to use today. I have pasted it in the doc. Go through it. So this is the API which we are going to use today, and it has things written in JSON format. So what is JSON? Let me type JSON. So what is JSON? JSON is a format which is used in most of the API where things are stored in key value pairs. Like if you see this, there is a category. Like there is a response code. So what is response code? It is an ID which is given to our status of the code. Like you must have seen error 404. So what is 404? It is a status code like response code. So whenever there is 404, a developer or a user will understand that there is no data here. So similarly, there are error codes 200, 202, all those things, which indicates that your program was successful. 202 indicates that there was some mistake, but even though it was successful. So similarly, there are response codes and results. So this result is the response which we are going to use. And as you can see, these are the questions. So it gives a category, which category the question belongs to. It belongs to animal. What is question? What is color of polar bear? Uh, uh, and the correct answer is black, and the incorrect answer is white, pink, green. So we are going to use this incorrect answers in our options, and this also in our option. And finally, whenever someone will click on the black, we would make black option green and other option pink, white, or all these things. And similarly, this one is full of question, single question. Now this is a second question, which is different. This is third question, mythology. It's type Hera is god of. This is correct answer. This is incorrect answer. We will display three of them as a options, and if someone selects marriage, we would give it green. Otherwise, it's red. So this is what we are gonna do. And if one of you have clicked on this link, you must be thinking that I am not able to see this thing in very beautiful manner because I am using an extension called JSON Viewer, which helps me to see the code in this way. If you would have opened directly, you must be seeing something like this, and it's actually coded like this only. It's a single string, but what this extension do is it makes it beautiful so we can read it, but actually the data from internet comes in this format only, and we just use this mapping to display data beautifully in our app. And if you just want a quick view how the data is looking, then you download this extension JSON viewer or some JSON beautifier or something. So that was about it. Hopefully, all of you must have created a new project, and we have named it Quizzing App. So let's get started. As I mentioned yesterday, we would use main.dart file to do our most of the operations. And today we are going to build a today we are going to build a application which is just a single page application. There are no multiple pages because there would be a thing called routing which I have not taught, and I think you all must explore after today's session and ask doubts, which is routing. So in routing there are functions which would help you to go through the screens, coming back to the screens, taking data from one screen to another screen. So that is a very big topic, and we didn't discuss it today. But if someone wants to learn it, you can message me, you can ask me. I will help you to learn that thing. So let's get started. So initially we would import this Flutter material dart package because this scaffold widgets comes from this material.dart only, and if we gonna remove it, then this all things would give me error. So I would start it at I would let's create an app by ourselves. Like there is no pre-written coded data. I would create it by myself. And if you see that there is some suggestions here. So the suggestions are due to GitHub feature called GitHub Autopilot Copilot, which helped me to code with myself. So if you want to learn more about GitHub Copilot, then go its website, and it's free for students. Like it is paid for working professionals and others, but for a college ID it's free. So I I I suggest that everyone should use it, which makes your coding experience so smooth, simple, fast. Thing. So but don't get addicted to taking suggestions. Like code it yourself so you would know what you are writing. So let's start. So initially, we would initialize our main, right? Main, and run my app. So this is the point where our app would start. Create a stateless widget, which I mentioned yesterday. What was stateless widget? What is stateful widget? So stateless widgets are widgets which do not change their state, or like do not change their values when something happens. Like someone press the button, but things are going to be stationary. So it is stateless widget. But if we press button and things should be changed, then that widget is stateful widget. So we are going to build stateless widget initially, which would be our navigator, like my app. And let's name this widget as my app, which we have mentioned here. And after that, what we are going to do is to go to this section where we would return a material app material app. Why we are using material app? Because we want to use its material library, which would help us to easy our process. And material app has widget has properties like home. So what will be my home? What will be my first page? It's gonna be home page. It's giving me error since I have not created home page, but soon we would do that. And next we are going to do debug show mode banner. I don't want to use this. So what I'm doing it is false. Now you must be wondering what is this. So you can hover over it and read it. Basically, it is a banner, like it is an indicator which shows when we are going to through debug mode. So for now, I would suggest you to make it false. And for theme, we are going to choose a very basic primary theme. So this theme has its own widget, theme data, and primary color, whichever we want to use. So primary color, and you must have observed that whenever we start writing, it gives an auto suggestion about widgets. So I just go to that widget and press tab, and it's written by itself. I do not need to type whole. For defining colors, we use property called colors dot write C capital and COLORS. Write dot. There are options. You can choose. Like I want to select yellow, then it would give me an option of selecting which shade of yellow. If I want white, it will give me what white. Okay, I selected white. Now what we are gonna do? We would be creating a home page. It is giving error since we have not created home page. Now we are going to create it. So now this home page would be having some changing design. Let me show what design we are trying to achieve. If I have a photo, it, second, we share, show you a photo which we are trying to build, because you must know your UI design before building it. Like whenever you get a project, there is a Figma design attached with which would be built by an UI UX designer. So he would describe how buttons would be there, how screen would be there. Let me show you first what we are trying to achieve. And so I'm showing that. So this is the thing which we are trying to achieve. Like this is a question. Whenever we would press this button, it would show the options, and we would be able to select that one of the options. That's the design we are trying to achieve, and hopefully we would be able to do it. Continue with our work. So let's create an stateful widget, since we are going to press the button and something is going to change. So the widget would be stateful widget, and we should name it home page. So you can see this error is removed now, and you have a stateful widget. And if you are thinking that I'm not getting this option of widget getting built by itself, then that must be due to some extensions which I have installed, like Flutter, awesome Flutter snippets. It gives a snippet automatically. Other than this, I have Flutter tree, which makes it more beautiful. Like you must have gone through this problem in C++ also, that you are not able to determine where a bracket start and where a bracket ends. So there is an extension called Flutter tree which helps me to do it. Other than this, I was telling you about GitHub Copilot, and it's an extension of GitHub Copilot. So I would suggest everyone to go through some extension available in marketplace. Here I have recommended. So sometimes I go through this uh, extension, so you would find very useful extension, and it will make your coding experience very smooth. Like if we don't download extension, then VS Code is just maybe it's a notepad with colors and nothing else. So I hope getting the importance of extensions. So let's continue wherever we were. We created a stateful widget and we named it homepage. Now what we want to do is we want that API data which we were observing in my app. And for this, I need to create some model class. Now, what is model class? It's an mapping which help us to like I would receive data in this form, and since I want to convert in very readable form, so I require a model which can decode this data, which can distinguish this data for my easy availability. So what I'm going to do is create a model class. Now, what are these classes? What are these functions? You would be learning ahead if you are from CSC in your course itself. There is a course, might be a course of object-oriented programming. So, and if you are not from CSA, then anyway you must learn it since it is asked in interviews, placements, and everything. So once you learn OOP, you would get about model classes, its functions, its constructors, and everything. So for now, I'm just helping you with a website called JSON to Dart. So what is this JSON to Dart? Let me also copy this in your doc. So what is this JSON to Dart? It helps you to create model class. Like if there won't be this website, then let me show you what you have to build by yourself. Just copy this, everything, whatever thing is present, copy and paste it here. So you see, they are asking you to give name of your class. Let me name is that this as quiz, generate data, generate dart. So what we are gonna get is a class, a model class, which we would use throughout our code to make our life easier. Because if this won't be there, then every time I want to use something, I need to write much amount of code, and it's done very easily with this thing, model class. So I'm going to copy it, create a new file named quiz.dart, pasting it here. So you can see that we have our model class and our program. And then now let's continue building whatever we were doing. Let us see first what type of screen is present till now. Like since let me use the Android emulator now. If you are doing your phone, then you must getting the name of your phone after doing the operation of this screen copy, which I showed you yesterday, opening USB debugging and developer options and everything, which yesterday we discussed. Today I am using Flutter, like Flutter emulator, which which consume some amount of RAM, but it's good for display, so I'm using it today. I would suggest you to use your own phones only for this purpose. Phone and my phone. Uh, this thing I'm going to do is run it. So for running it, start debugging. This would show that launching launching your app in your phone. This would take few seconds as we discussed yesterday. Let me set up things well. It's yes to go. Till the time and almost done. Let me show you how this model class is built. So just listen these things if you aren't aware. It's okay. It's first time. So okay. So here these variables are storage variables where our response would be stored. This is constructor where this dot result describes that I want to use this response code only. Now from like quiz dot from JSON. So what it does it that API data which was in JSON format is stored in the form of linear mapping. Like for result there are results, for response there is response, nothing else. And for beside that there was a result class. If you have observed that there was a response, then there was a result class. So same thing is done for result class. Our app is successfully executed. You must be seeing just a black screen because we haven't coded anything here. Like if you now write color and colors text, and if I just hot reload it, so you have a blank white screen, but you don't want it, you want something else. So we should start coding it. Now let's first say that what we want is a scaffold. Scaffold. And inside the scaffold, what we initially want is an app bar. App bar, what text we want to write here? It's quizzing app. And inside body, we want something else. So for now, just remove the auto suggested body thing. And again, just hot reload it. So you can see that we have created a app bar on a quizzing app. It has some elevation, so it is looking good. Now let's use the quiz model class which we had created, and we would initialize it here. Let's initialize a class variable. And class variable, what basically class is, it's a custom data type which we have created. So quiz, naming it quiz, is showing me some error that quiz doesn't exist because we have not imported that file. That this main file doesn't know that that file contains a that quiz.dart exists. So what we did, it gave me an error, and what I did is I imported this file here, so I would be able to use that quiz function in that file in this page. It is giving me what error, that that I need to mark it late. Uh, we see the error that non-nullable instance field quiz must be initialized. Like I need to give some data to quiz because I have made this quiz class, everything, this question mark is there. So question mark, make sure that your data is not uninitialized. It doesn't give null error. Like there must be some data. If not, then we must write some error instruction that data is not received or all those things. So what I need to do is mark it late. That I would initialize it in some day. It is giving me an error because I'm using constant here, but this thing is gonna change someday. So it was not accepting constant, so I would remove that constant. Now what we are going to do, we initialize the quiz. Now we are going to initialize late list results result. Like the list of results which was present in our quiz, this one. So what we did was initialize this. Later we want to change the color of whatever thing we are choosing. Like if I am choosing a wrong option, then I want to write it that color must be red. If I am choosing a right option, then I should write color should be green. So I'm using a variable called late color color. It's just a variable which I've initialized. And now what we are do is okay, just a second. I must use these things in, uh, in this class because it won't be accessible in my scaffold. So I just cut and pasted it here. Now what we are going to do is write an override. Now what this override does is whenever things refresh, whenever we get new data, it changes the uh, the data present on screen. Like, can I explain it? A second. What happens that there is a persistent state present in your app, that there is some data showing your on your screen, and now there is new data. So what it does, that whenever new data comes, it automatically renders that data in your app. So for that I need to write it init init state. So what this is going to do, it initialize state whenever some changes would be there. Now what I'm going to do is I would create a future builder. What this future builder is, that the future is kind of promise that we are making to an UI. UI means our UI components, UI widgets, that after we call that API, we will get that data from somewhere. So that future is assurance that we are getting something. And for building that, I'm going to create a new function which has its return type as future, which is same as like till time you were writing int function something something and something something. So this is similar to that, but our return type now would be future. Right? I'm naming it fetch questions, like collect out the questions. Standard class, standard function things. Now this is giving me error that this should be null label and all those things. I would solve it later. Let this error remain for some time. Basically, now I guess this error must be okay. Okay, so the thing is, I have not written async here. Now, what this async is done, that it doesn't show the data until and unless data is arrived from internet. Like think about it, if your UI starts showing you data before it is obtained from internet, like you open the app. So whenever you open the app, what it does, it makes API call, and after you get response of that API call, then only things are shown. That, but think of it that before that, if something is shown, then that would be something like unwanted, some garbage value would be shown. So we are using an async function with future. What it does, it waits till some data comes in, and then only displays it on its UI. So for writing this async function, what we are going to do is where stress is basically response, and we would await till we get response. Now we are gonna import and package, which I was telling you to do from pub.dev. So let's use the thing which we were mentioning. So now for making a request, I need some package like HTTP package, which would help me to call that API. So let's search for HTTP. So I have this HTTP made by Dart.dev. There are many more packages, but for knowing it is testable, you must check like it is made by Dart or some known companies. So it is made by Dart, so it is testable. For installing it, there are instructions you can do with either this. Or, so easiest would be to copy it from here, copy to my clipboard, open my terminal, paste it, enter. Now you can see that what we have done is we have a new dependency present here, which was not present until now. Like, let me show you. I have not got it. So if I have removed it, I have run pub.dev again. Now let me paste that. So see that there is no dependency here. And after I pressed flutter pub add, dependency came just after I added it. So it is a shortcut to add this dependency. And now we are going to use this dependency in our Dart file. We must import something before we use it. Import TP and auto suggestion. I want to import is import package package http http.dart as http. What this error is there? The target file doesn't exist. It's happening. Check first. Abstract.yml. I have this file, but why it is still giving this? Let me run this pub.get again. And for running it again, just Control S on your file and it will run it again. But it is giving me same error. Write it again. Now that is not giving an error since it takes them sometimes to come in this in its system. So it took some time. Now we are ready to use HTTP. http.get. That dot get with what we are going to use. We are going to write our API. So URI dot I parse. Parse means we want to get some data over it. Dot parse, and I would just copy this API which I have pasted in your talk. Giving me an error. Able to find this. Is it asking about this, this, this? The API is ready. Comma and Control S, and it will automatically hot reload and beautify the code by itself. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to save the response which came from our API and take it out from JSON format like var dot this to JSON decode using the JSON decode function. What it will do is it will help me to get my data, which is in JSON format, into normal mapping format. And for quiz, and I will create a quiz variable which would have the data from that uh, from JSON and from this variable body. So this is the thing which we are going to use to get the API data throughout our project. For now, I'm writing, and for color, I'm writing it C equals to colors dot black. C must be capital. So what this means is that whenever we open the option, the color will be black. But after we click it, it's going to be red or green on basis of choices. So after app bar now we would create a body. This body would contain uh, a future builder. Now, what is future builder? Future builder is a widget which gives an output whenever we have some data from API. Like till the time we don't have data, this future builder just show a refreshing indicator which you must have seen while opening some app, that sometimes your data is off, you are not getting Wi-Fi, you see a round button revolving and not getting anything. This is the same thing. And for future builder, there are two very useful properties which we must give it, are builder and future. So let me write builder and future. For that, let me make this thing that easy to get. This I will write my future. So what future is, fetch questions. And what builder is another property which would help me uh, to create this fetch questions data. So builder would have its two variable which would be passed, which is context and snapshot. For see there is an error. Going to solve it. Just a second. I guess it is because of some auto generation thing. Write it. Fetch questions. And for builder, we will create build context. Yes, it's showing me some error which I don't care. What I'm going to do is just write it here. So write switch statement like switch or in connection state. In this case, we are going to do is state. So when there is no connection, what we are going to show and press, press button to start. Now for the second case where there is a active thing. So for active, the third case is for waiting. Like till the time there is waiting, what we will do is we will show a circular indicator. And other than this, whenever our connection is done, but we will show that if snapshot has error, then we would return a container which has written some error. Else we would do something else. So we are going to write that if has written the text that this container has some otherwise need to use else or something. Just return container child is for now just we would return a container having text text showing. I guess we should write it in child Shall we get text, we will write that as some data. Now let's see how much we have built and how much left. Okay, okay, error solved, things beautified. Now let's see. So now you can see that whenever, let me start an app again. So as you can see that app is starting until the time we get some data from an API. There was a circle, and after this condition match, that connection state is done, then there is some data. So I have write this some data. I can write here more data or something, and eventually we would write question class. So see, there is more data. Like this more data indicates that something is coming from an API, and now our job is to get that thing from API. Now let's write a class called question list. So how our questions would appear, right here. List view. What is list view? Shows the thing inside a list. Let's name it questions. This question list would return list view builder. So let me tab. List view builder is a companion widget of list view, which help us to build a list view from an API. So it has properties like item count. So how many questions would be there? This depends on result.length. Like here we can see that we have taken output in result, and depending on this length we would decide how many number of questions are present. Then our main thing comes inside an item builder. So let's type item builder. Item builder. Note that using curly brackets and this arrow is very similar. And the difference, I would use a widget called card, which would easy my coding process. So inside a card, I would mark its properties. Color would be color start white. Mm, then I would give some zero elevation. Like I don't want the thing to be elevated, so elevation would be 0.0. The next property which I would like to mention is child. So what this child is gonna do, it describes what will be inside this question, each question. So let's write that expansion tile. So why this expansion tile? Because every phone would be having different size of display, and what this expansion tile do, it automatically gets the size of the phone and sets its height, breadth, weight, width, everything as per that phone's dimension. So I would use this widget, and its title would be padding. So title would have a widget called padding, padding, having something like uh, padding, whatever I can give. Like padding is just space which we would which would add in all corner directions, like I would use edge dot intersect all, and I would mention some random value. After this padding, what I'm going to do is write the child of this padding, child column. Now I want to use a column. What is column? Column is just a vertical structure which I would get. Like, can you understand that what I'm building for now is that box questions which I mentioned in that photo I showed initially, that this is the UI. So I have that design in my mind, and currently I'm building that column. Child column would be having, column would have some parameters like cross axial alignment, cross axial alignment. Let's remove this necessary thing. Cross axial alignment, that alignment would then it is about cross axis, like horizontal axis. Now about main axis, main main axis alignment. So let me, instead of space between, I would make sure to it space evenly. Options like space. Now, other than this, I would be having children. So children, I would be having that small category thing which was in that API, and I want to mention it here. So what I would write in children is uh, text. Text will be having text would be what text we would be having is directly from result only. So what we are going to write is result results index dot question. I'm going to do directly, and I would convert it to string. Other than this, I would mention some properties which are like style. Style would be having some text style, some font weight. So I'm just change some values here. 18, and I want color as black. Color would be default by black only. Font weight would be bold. There's an error here. Just more error. Hit the error. here instead of this, I must do this. It's something like that. It is giving me an error due to this constant thing. Remove that. And in the child, I am missing something. What it is, right? Something here. Children, children would be having text. This is giving me error because I want to convert. I need to convert into string. String. Now this thing is perfect. Saving it. Other than this, what I need is fitted box inside the children itself. Fitted box would be having child. Child would be having a row. So main it's space between children. Let me check if these things are correct. Then I would just press tab and things would be done. Otherwise, I need to write it myself. I think I should write it myself. So let's start. Row, child row. What we would be having main this alignment and main axis alignment would be having some space in between. And for children, there instead of text, let me use some different widgets instead of this text. That giving me an error. Okay, so it's fixed. Now let me write children again. This is the process which we need to go through while creating an app. So these widgets are mentioned in the website. You must be thinking how I'm knowing this because I have gone through many tutorials of different projects which helped me to know all these widgets. So now I'm able to do it myself. What we would give label. Label would be text. Text would be having results, results, index, and index would be having the category. Category we would make it to string so it can stay on the app. Control save to make it beautiful. Comma so it can be distinguishable. Okay. So now I can see a filter chip. I would use this filter chip again so that I don't need to write it again and again. What changes I'm gonna do? is use a sized box between, which would give me some spacing. Sized box of with maybe 10. And then second filter chip could be having both of them. I guess should be having some background color, would make them look distinguishable. Color, background color, that's gray maybe, like 200 shed. Same color I would give to second one. Okay, so I guess instead of category here we will difficulty, and that's it. There is nothing else we can do. So along with this, I guess we need to write as answer, because this is just a question. Now I need to write something for answer to. So what I'm going to do is leading. For leading, I would create a circular avatar, which would help me to create a kind of ball there. The circular avatar, I'm going to do children. Inside the children, we would be having result. Okay, so for this, let me create an a class which would help me to see the answers. And for this, I would use my pre-written snippets, which I wrote few days before, so it won't take much time. Yours, we could do it faster. Window, previous project. From this project, I would just copy answers, answer class, so we can complete our project faster. Let's see, let's paste it here. Not copied, Control C. And now we are ready with our answer class. So what I'm going to do is just use that pre-written answer class. Children, for children, what I'm going to do is instead of writing inside it, I would use the results which I got from an API. Results, a results index dot all answers is giving me an error at all answers because there is nothing like all answers. So I guess I need to make some change here. Let's go to OK. Uh, so instead of this, can I write all answers? So I get all answers instead of correct and incorrect only. So let me write it here, all answers. Yes, yes, I guess I need to change it in such a way that all its occurrence get changed. For doing that, use a I would use a functionality which is there from VS Code, change all occurrences, all And other than this, I need to make a change here, like since I'm getting all answers as this thing only. So what I'm going to do is all answers dot add what I need to add. I need to add. So I need to add autocorrect. Correct answer, and white is giving me some error because I have not used null. Since this thing is nullable, so I must use a null operation here. Fix, check. Yes, we are ready to go. Now this map is giving me some error because there is no null. So mapping is also done. And I guess with all the things present here, we are ready to finalize our app. So let me first port reload it so we can know that there's some error or something. Close this. So since there is no error, now what we are going to do is write some commas to make it beautiful. Code must be readable. Okay, I guess we are ready to go. And for using this, we should instead of returning something there, like here instead of returning more data, we could return the question list, which which was the thing which would give me questions. Yeah. List. And other than this, what I needed to do is, no, I think yes, I have done everything available present, and I'm going to reload it. Okay, there is some error here that late results has not been initialized. Okay, just a second. Let me rerun the project. Well, it is giving me an error. Just a second. Let me check it. I guess I need to reload the whole project again to make it work. So let me reload it, start debugging, use the emulator which we were using, and let me go through the code again. Use an API, we use a color, app, press button to start. Okay, everything seems fine. Okay, and I think we are ready with our app. Previously, maybe there might be some error while running it, but now good to go. Okay, and see the question which I was mentioning. We are ready with our quiz app, which has list of questions. And if you want to play this quiz, what you are going to do is the click on it, select an option. If it is wrong, it would give in red. If it is right, it would give green, and other options would be wrong. Here we have the difficulty level which we created using this thing, filter chip. Here we have used result like API's difficulty function, which gives an output of how difficult it is. So this medium is coming from this, and and this category entertainment video games is coming from this filter chip. As you can see that we have kept it in a same row, that they are coming in same row, and we have created an answer. We have created an a class of answers which is giving me this answer list, and that's good about it. If there is something else, this quiz app is coming due to this thing. Quiz app is coming from here, and whenever we refresh the app, we restart the app, like if we come from outside, then this would show indicator till the time API is done. And if we want to reorder this, then what we are going to do is refresh this. This is coming due to a refresh indicator which we have added here. Other than this, I want to show you a thing called a Flutter widget inspector. This widget inspector help us to learn about every UI components and how it is made. Like if I am selecting something, a second. See the widget inspector, it gives me an idea how my thing was, like what was inside one, what was outside one. So here inside a list view, there were cards. Inside a card, there were expansion tile. Inside a tile, there was a circular avatar. Inside the circular avatar, we are given padding, which is giving us equally space. Then there was a text which is showing. Then there was a filter column which is used here. There was a row which is this row. So with the use of this Flutter inspect, we can get an idea about how UI components were. So other than this, I should show is other than widget inspector, I can see that whenever we this color is black, like if we are these options are black due to this variable. Like if we change it color to black to maybe red, not red, let's select the then red and green, orange. So we auto reload it. So what we are going to see is it is giving me red and green whenever we are selecting it. Let's hot restart the app. And since in our quiz.dart file we used this thing called and all answers dot shuffle. So whatever result we are getting will be in shuffle form. So since whenever you start an app, this is first question. So after you come here, after you restart the app, uh, there will be a different question screen here. And even if you just reload this app. There is a pull down. This pull down was created here. Pull down thing was created due to this refresh indicator, and its property is on refresh. So whenever you just do this refresh thing and come back, you could observe the different question here. So from what show, if just refresh this, and if you go here and come here, you can see the question is changed. Now you can do n number of things, like you can insert photos from somewhere. You can create a new folder called asset, and just add that asset folder in dependencies, which will help you to add that photo inside it. That's all about this app. And finally, you have created your first app, which is quizzing app. What I'm gonna do is I will just push this project inside my GitHub. Let me add my GitHub in that doc too, and you can access this code. From that code, you can practice your app. And other than this, you can just go to YouTube and search for some basic Flutter tutorials, which would and that YouTuber would help you to take through the app creation process. And after around 2 or 3 tutorials, you would be able to create an app by yourself without like any ambiguity regarding the widgets you can use. Like in 2 or 3 tutorials, you will get that what widgets should be used, what properties of that widget should be used. GitHub, let me add it here itself. And I would add it in the latest repo. You can see it over here above it in just around 10 to 15 minutes after this session. So that's it. That was all about today's session. Let me see if there's something present over there. Or, okay. Okay, so wish you happy Holi. Thank you for attending the session. Hopefully you enjoyed this session. We'll see you someday when we will create some app together, some project.